Hello there, it's Coach Sammy 33. Block 2, semi in the books. Block 3 is open. So let's look at the poll results from the second block. Some changes, not a whole lot though, especially when you get to the bottom poll. That's when things get interesting. But at the top, you got in the coaches poll, Texas jumping LSU. So LSU has, it's interesting, LSU has more first place votes, but Texas finishes number 1. Interesting. I mean, some people had to drop LSU down. My guess is because of games not played. I haven't looked at the schedule, so I can't tell. And the media poll, flip-flop, Texas, number 2. So it stays the same. Bama, Georgia, Tennessee, or Bama, Oregon, Tennessee, Georgia, Ole Miss, Clemson, Utah, Mizzou. The match across the board, both sides, those check out. We drop down to 11, some changes. So on the coaches' side, you've got Louisville, Texas Tech moving up the polls very quickly, as is USC, as is CU. Your next group of 5, Florida as well. Florida got a first place vote too. Looking at the media poll, USC, a very impressive win. Great start to the season. They move up to 11. They had to win against Michigan on the Bourbon Beers podcast. Texas Tech sitting number 12, so that matches CU at 13, Louisville at 14, and Notre Dame at 15. Looking at the next set of 5, 16 through 20, Washington State. On the coaches' side, you've got Central Michigan, so your first team in the group of 5 popping up. Notre Dame, Ohio State. Ohio State's an interesting one. I didn't drop them at all in the poll, but I had a check mark by them, so I'm going to note when they play a game, because they have not played a game yet. And Penn State sitting at 20. Media side, you got Florida at 16, Washington State, Penn State, Central Michigan, and Ohio State. So drop a little farther on the media side to 20. You got Florida at 16, Central Michigan a little lower, Washington State a step lower. And then the final 5. This is the one that's always kind of tougher to figure out because you have a lot of moving parts here. South Florida moving up, he's undefeated, he sits at 21. Miami, big comeback win against San Diego State, they sit at 22. Oklahoma loses to Tennessee, they drop to 23. 24, Florida State, and then Auburn sitting at 25. And then teams that are close, you've got Northwestern is 10 points out, Texas A&M a little farther out, Tulane sitting in the 28th spot, Cincinnati, Old Dominion, NC State. Media poll, you've got Miami at 21. Oklahoma drops here to 22. South Florida at 23. Auburn and Texas A&M 6 feet. Big win against Florida. Always impressive when you can beat one of the best coaches in the history of the NDLs. At home too. And having to come back late after giving up the score to go behind, and comes back and gets a go-ahead score. So nice showing there. And then in others receiving votes, Florida State sitting at 26, Northwestern at 27, Cincinnati at 28. You got BYU and Tulane hitting 30. Looking at the individual breakdown, let's see, Tar UNC Heel, the closest, just 20 points off. That's very impressive. Wasted Memory and Homie, 26 points off. So a group of guys within 30 points. If you go down here, might have to go down a little ways, but maybe a lot of ways. Where am I at? 70. Oof. 73 points off. You can see my poll. I'm sure Ohio State played a big part in this. So I have LSU, Texas, like this up here. Is someone saying, oh man, I messed up. I had BYU. That was a mistake. I'm not sure who that was supposed to be. Frick. I wouldn't even know off the top of my head. Ole Miss. Wow. How did I get Ole Miss confused with BYU? That's tough. Yikes. I'm mad at myself for that one. The rest of the poll, though, I think that's definitely accurate. Now I'm really upset about that. That should have been Ole Miss there. So you got Mizzou, Louisville. This one is higher for me than it is for others because I didn't drop them yet because it's still kind of early in the season. But if we go 3 weeks without a game played, I looked at the ascendant absences. So if no games are played this week, I'll start dropping. Notre Dame, Florida, two teams with a loss, but they were sitting higher up, so justified in dropping them to how far I did, in my opinion. Texas Tech, USC, CU, great starts to the season, but it's because Notre Dame and Florida were starting high in the rankings. They were, top 10-ish. I just with one loss, I can't drop them that far just yet. Yeah, Penn State, Wazoo, Miami, OU, Northwestern. I had Texas A&M at 23. My first team in the group of 5 in my poll, I had Tulane at 25. If we're going out a little bit further, I had Central Michigan at 26. Honestly, I did this on stream. I was having a hard time putting myself at 24. The only reason that I did is given the teams that I had behind, which have been Tulane and Central Michigan. Tulane does have wins against power teams. Central Michigan does not. So I may have flipped Tulane and myself, but Central Michigan still would have been at 26, even though they're undefeated as opposed to me having one loss. It's the quality of the opponents in group of 5 versus power schools. Going to the media poll, man, I cannot believe I missed Ole Miss. That really makes me sad. So that alone sets me off, because by having BYU here, by not having Ole Miss, because I would have had them here, so they would have been 9. So I missed out on 16 points. I think that's how that works. So that would have put me at 55. So it's a little bit better. I just can't believe I missed that. I'm not gonna lie, really. I am shocked that I messed that up. A misclick. But this is my top 25. We'll definitely make sure to get it right next week. And then looking at games played real quick, you notice here that game against SMU isn't up there. That game got played early, so it's WrestleMania weekend. It's harder for me to get stuff done with wrestling going on. But we'll go ahead and recap that game, and then Clemson, we'll have to see what we have going on there. Still have a cup game against Tulane. No coach from New Mexico State just yet. So a win against Tulane will advance us in the cup, and then we'll be rewarded with a game against LSU. That could be very interesting. First time playing Coach Bucknut, if that's the case.